Welcome to the Wednesday? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. The Wednesday stream, I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday morning. Hey, Spread It Forward, how's it going? The final countdown. True. Let me make sure we got everything ready here. Okay. So as you can see, we've been doing a little bit of changes here and there. Just to spice things up, I guess. Alright, we've got quite a few headlines to go through, so... Just making sure we got everything here. Where's that other one? Here it is.
And we're the best country and we're the best. So you all know, of course, about America first and the US is the best and we're the best country and we're the best at everything and we have the best people and we have the best everything. And yet already Canada has surpassed the United States in terms of the portion of adults who have received a second or final dose. Yeah, as I tweeted when this happened, quote, you can buy, I don't know if I need to quote myself, as David Packman from The Weekend, you can buy all the vaccines you want early, but if you're overrun with anti-vax Americans, eventually Canada catches up. And if you look at the vaccination curves for each country, there's really a treasure trove of information just in looking at the shapes of these curves, which we're going to put up on the screen for our video audience. If you look at the US vaccination curve, you see that it picks up in mid-March when we had...
Hey, how's it going, Mono? A nuclear armed nation promised serious consequences over a tub of ice cream. Yeah, I heard about that. It's pretty ridiculous. So how's your week going? Oh, it's going. Thanks for the shout out. Of course. Of course. If you want to see some dope League of Legends play, I highly recommend you hang out in Grolem's chat. They usually stream about 8 p.m.-ish. About 8 p.m.-ish. It's too hot for me here. Climate change must be stopped. I will not survive temperatures even as low as 25 degrees Celsius. Jesus Christ. Hey, KTS Shine. I've been curious as to where to find data on what the accurate vaccination rates are in each state. I can only find death rates and cases. I mean, there is like records, right? There is like CDC data that you can use, right? Of like our vaccination rates. I don't know if it's 100%, but at this current time, I think we're just about 50-ish. 50-ish% vaccinated. I think. I'm British. Someone said California is close to 60, which made me curious about my state, which plays with data. Yikes. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Because, like... each state handles its vaccination deployment differently, and reports its data differently. We'll probably max out at 70%. There's a lot of people who just won't get it. Yeah, I suppose.
A lot of vaccines already. And the trend is that as more and more vaccines have become available into May, June, July, where you can just walk in anywhere, no appointment, get vaccinated, the rate of vaccination in the US has slowed down in the United States because we so quickly started hitting anti-vax resistance from people who don't want the vaccine. Even though vaccine supply continues to go up, the curve flattens and flattens to where we are now, doing only about 500,000 vaccine doses per day. So the US story, as seen graphically here, is tons of vaccines, rapidly waning interest. Now, in Canada, the curve started almost flat. Why?
Right.
Well, because
mono.
the US had all the vaccines. And as vaccine supply increased in Canada, the vaccination curve went almost vertical, and importantly, it is sustaining in this way. In the US, by the time we got to 35-40% doses of people vaccinated, the curve was flattening. Canada has surpassed us and is approaching 50%, and it is sustained as an almost vertical curve. In a month, Canada is in all likelihood going to be dramatically more vaccinated than the United States. So this anti-vax stuff is lethal. If you are a Trumpist who falsely believes Trump made the vaccine, if you believe that, why would you let Canada take all of the vaccine?
True. True. But, yeah, the point being is, like, this is not good. Anti-vaxxers are about to get wrecked. Yeah, they're already getting wrecked. The majority of, like, hospitalizations, the majority of deaths, the majority of, infection rates are among the unvaccinated. The majority of severe cases are among the unvaccinated. That's right, Memius. When in doubt, you just blame Canada. That's usually how it is. Trump is controlled opposition.
Seen protection from us. This is such a dumb way to see it. But as I tweeted yesterday, maybe we need to start marketing the vaccine to Trumpists as a soda, like the way sodas are marketed to people, and call it Trump juice. Is that what it will take? But if you are a Trumpist, wouldn't you want to honor your fearless leader who made the vaccine by getting the vaccine that he made for you instead of letting socialist, communist, Marxist Canadians use it? Remember, this is all crazy. I'm just thinking, how do we get Trumpists to want it? And the gap is wild. Canada is currently vaccinating about 1.2% of its population daily. 1.2%. The US is fully vaccinating 0.2% of our population daily. And it's not because we have a larger share vaccinated. Canada has surpassed us now. So this will soon end up being another complete humiliation of the United States of America, thanks to right-wingers who are proud about not getting vaccinated. Now, it's fine to say Canada simply has fewer people. That's why we're talking about vaccination per capita. It is absolutely shameful that the United States, with all the vaccines we have, is struggling this badly to find people who want to get vaccinated.
Because the issue is the amount of misinformation has been so bad that people genuinely are, for illogical reasons, people are just throwing out science out the window, and that's a massive problem. That's really what it is.
While the world is mostly desperate for vaccines and actually getting vaccinated as they get vaccines available, these spikes we're seeing in the United States, the masks already going back on in certain places, expect more of it as people continue to refuse to get vaccinated. Now, I want to remind you, The good news continues to be, for now, the vaccines provide very good protection against even the Delta variant. If you're vaccinated and get sick, you're very unlikely to be seriously ill, very unlikely to be hospitalized. There's places where, for example, at a certain point last week, every hospitalized COVID patient in Los Angeles, California County was not vaccinated. That's fantastic, but there will be breakthrough cases. And remember, the slower we vaccinate, the more those unvaccinated people can be vectors for the development of variants for which the vaccines are not well suited. So this is a very real issue. We're seeing it in the numbers. We're seeing it in the numbers of what's happening in other countries. We're seeing it in the numbers of the spikes that are taking place. Some states, Florida, for example, just exploding with cases, and the hospitalizations are starting to increase in mostly unvaccinated people. If there's any good news, and it's never great for me that people are getting sick and dying, but if there's any good news, it's that the decision to get yourself vaccinated remains a very good decision. It's not 100% foolproof decision, but it is very, very good.
I agree. What's more to say? I think Sam Cedar mentioned yesterday how different things could have went if Trump championed the vaccine and masks, and how his supporters would have only wanted it for themselves. Yeah, I mean, like, the reality is, I think that he had the responsibility to do the right thing, especially when it comes to this, like, public health emergency. And he should have been more responsible. But he doesn't care about that. Trump also got COVID, so maybe they want to follow their leader. True.
Because you guys paid for all of this.
Despite round-the-clock news coverage, the billionaire space race continues boring us all to death. That said, there was something newsworthy at the Jeff Bezos launch, where afterward he just admitted to exploiting his workers to go on this 5-minute space vacation. Check it out.
I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all of this.
Jesus Christ.
So, seriously, for every Amazon customer out there and every Amazon employee, thank you from the bottom of my heart very much. It's very appreciated.
Well, there you have it. Now, I'm not sure he meant to say this in the way that he said it, but he said it. For a lot of viewers, maybe this didn't even stand out. You didn't notice what he's saying here, but to everyone else, Jeff Bezos just admitted that his 5-minute space vacation was paid for by the exploitation of Amazon workers.
I mean,
every dollar going to this space launch for his space vacation is every dollar withheld from an employee. This is the central issue here with capitalism, where the workers produce the value and the capital owners reap the benefits. So an on-geode artist tweeted this out, saying Jeff Bezos just articulated the honest truth too few of us in the media are willing to voice. His trip was paid for not only by Amazon customers, but also by Amazon employees in the form of wages and protections withheld. Now, if you didn't catch this, that's fine. I mean, we have a system here, a society, a media that often does not go any deeper than the surface level and doesn't generally frame these sorts of stories in a negative light. So if you see any coverage of whether it's Richard Branson's flight to space or Jeff Bezos coverage in, general mainstream press, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, in Canada, CBC, none of the coverage is negative. It's all just covering this billionaire space race because they don't go any deeper than just the surface.
Right.
But when you go a little deeper, you recognize the only way these billionaires are able to do this is because of the exploitation of labor.
Right, like these things didn't just magically appear. This didn't just magically happen, okay? The only way this gets to this grotesque level is by stepping on people. And that's literally the only way.
People that work for them not making the value of what they're actually worth. Now, let me go over some examples of how Jeff Bezos exploits Amazon workers and some other information here as well. So this from Quartz. Jeff Bezos will still make the annual salary of his lowest paid employees every 11.5 seconds. So this was a headline after they raised wages to $15 an hour. Even after raising wages, he still makes the salary of his lowest paid employees every 11.5 seconds, showing you just how much money this man is worth. This from CNBC. Amazon warehouse workers injured at higher rates than those at rival companies, study finds.
True.
You'd think some of that money maybe could go to protecting Amazon warehouse workers a little more, but no, instead going to
no. Listen, if they made a conscious decision to park ambulances outside warehouses because it was cheaper than installing AC in the warehouse, I mean, really?
To a space vacation for billionaires. This from Vice. Amazon denied a worker pregnancy accommodations, then she miscarried. Patty Hernandez, a 23-year-old Amazon warehouse worker in Tracy, California, miscarried after pleading with her manager and human resources for lighter duty. This from The Guardian. 14-hour days and no bathroom breaks. Amazon's overworked delivery drivers. Drivers report being underpaid and having to urinate in bottles in their vehicles to keep up with delivery rates.
Correct. I mean, they even had like leaked emails about management saying that please do not leave the plastic bags with human waste on them because, well, you're forcing these folks to like do this. Thanks for the follow, Fat Boy Tro. I mean, like, this is just like horrible. The only way, generally, the only reason someone could get this grotesquely rich is through exploitation and essentially rigging rules in their favor by buying government effectively, or coercing government, or lobbying government because they have this much money. I worked for a company that our sales director would legit buy a new car every year. It must be nice. Like, they literally did the meme. All high-end cars. Must be nice.
And by the way, I'll link to all these articles below the video so you can read through whatever one, may interest you. Another one here from Vice. Amazon launches another union-busting campaign. Of course, I covered this heavily. The union-busting efforts in Bessemer, Alabama during
That's right, which they won. The, Amazon successfully busted that, attempt at unionization. How are you gonna flaunt it like that? Well, I mean, it's the ego, right?
Union effort there. Just the amount of time and effort that Amazon puts into ensuring that workers have no voice is really disgusting. This from The Verge. Amazon's newest euphemism for overworked employees is industrial athlete.
Nice.
Amazon uses the phrase in a leaked pamphlet about worker wellness.
Hey guys,
so this is what they do.
Hold on.
They overworked.
Hey folks, it's not overworked employees. They're just industrial athletes. Look at these massive, powerful, awesome industrial athletes. Jesus Christ. Amazing. I worked in a factory that thought one popsicle a day was adequate replacement for air conditioning. Jesus. That's horrifying. Legitimately, some of these warehouses are, when it gets hot, they become like ovens. I mean ovens. And when it's cold, they become like freezers. It's really rough. Oh yeah, I bet. Well over 100 degrees, I bet. They literally become ovens if it's hot, or just even mildly warm enough. The warehouse can get incredibly hot. And when it gets cold, it can be like a freezer. I know this because, yeah, of course. That popsicle is such a slap in the face, of course. Of course. And I know it gets incredibly, like, dangerously hot because, like, my dad talks about his work all the time. And I used to work as a web designer. But unfortunately, part of my web design duties, was to help in the warehouse occasionally when there wasn't enough people. Yeah, and going into that warehouse was like going into an oven. There's no such thing as air conditioning, no such thing as anything, except maybe a couple of fans, but that really didn't do anything. It just circulated hot air everywhere.
Their employees, and then they frame it in a way that, oh, you guys are heroes for destroying your families, never going home, working too much, never getting a bathroom break. You guys are fantastic. So you're all industrial athletes. This is
right.
This is the kind of thing these companies do.
This is
to
like
try
psychopathic.
And make their employees feel better. They'll use language like this, and of course, Amazon.
Yeah, the fans never did anything except push hot air. It's push hot air around. There was never any relief in that warehouse.
Is no stranger to this, and in fact, a trailblazer in this field. This is Democracy Now! Pandemic profiteers, how U.S. billionaires like Amazon's Jeff Bezos saw wealth grow by 1.3 trillion. Of course, I'll also cover the story a couple of times over the pandemic, how billionaires have increased their wealth dramatically during the pandemic. All while, of course, paying almost nothing in taxes. Jeff Bezos paid true tax rate under 1%. And if you're wondering how the hell is this possible, you got to check out this piece in ProPublica that broke this story. It's not just Bezos, of course. It's other billionaires paying a fraction of their wealth in taxes. I mean, paying less taxes than
true. Spread it forward.
the average, family does, clearly. So just absolutely discussing what these people get away with.
0.10%
through 0.98%
effective tax rate.
The best
Nice.
accountants and
That
lawyers
is
on
like
their team.
that is peak
Just
America.
really disgusting. Now, I want to share some reactions here online. This from Savvy saying the richest man just went to space for fun. In the same month, 1 billion animals cooked to death and hundreds of people died in record-breaking heat waves, flooding, and fires that are still raging around the world. Our survival isn't compatible with their evil and greed.
True. 100% true. 100% true. At this point in time, like, the reality is that this is just unsustainable in a number of different ways, right? In any way, shape, or form, this is just not sustainable. This is not sustainable economically. This is not sustainable environmentally. It's just not healthy. Wasn't it so funny to hear say something about we're heating up the planet with our travel and then continue selling his spaceflight company? Yeah, they don't care. They don't care.
Yeah. Look, I got nothing against space, but we're watching the space race from like the 1950s. They're not even, they're barely making it to space. And they're dropping back down to 5 minutes. What are we watching here? This is all about space travel for billionaires. It's amazing how the media just falls in line and covers this story as it's some, incredible entertainment piece, when it really is just one of the most purest examples of how labor is exploited to benefit the wealthy. This from Nina Turner. Correction, employees didn't pay for this. Their wages were stolen to pay for a billionaire's space.
Hold on, folks. So for those of you that are like Magic the Gathering, hold on. True. True. True.
Space vacation. Jeff Bezos can thank his workers by treating them with dignity and paying them fair wages, and he can thank us all by paying his damn taxes. Last one here from Andre. I try to be moderate in my political impulses, but there's some.
True. Listen, if we had like a system to make sure these folks just paid what they owe society, I mean, like this system made them. This country made them. They owe it. I had Treasure Cruise 2 days before it ended up on the ban list. Womp womp. Morning, Lee Spanner. $6? Oof. Nice.
Something about a multi-billionaire in a cowboy hat boasting about how he's just been to space on the back of surplus value, union busting and paying bugger all in taxes that make me want to man a barricade. Yeah. So really is just a great example of how workers are exploited to benefit the wealthiest.
True. Very good. Very solid system we have. In case you guys wanted to take a look at the actual article, Bezos thanks Amazon customers who paid for spaceflight. Effectively, that's what they did. Not only customers, but workers. Soon after Amazon chairman and founder Jeff Bezos returned to Earth from space on Tuesday, the billionaire received sharp criticism from progressive Senator Elizabeth Warren. That's a stretch, but okay. Contrasting the low tax bills paid by him and Amazon with those borne by everyday Americans who keep this country running. True. The criticism came in response to remarks made by Bezos thanking Amazon customers and employees. You make sure you include that in the headline. Who's purchased? Because like it's one thing like if customers paid for it. Well, yeah, of course you're buying their products, but there's obviously a very clear link to also the employees. Why wouldn't you include that in the headline? Whose purchases and work paid for the space expedition? True. Oh, 16 apiece. Oof. Yikes. Rip. Bezos rocket blasts off with tears and blood of workers. But yeah, that's a good headline. That's a better headline. The space expedition, which was carried out by another Bezos-backed venture, Blue Origin. In a tweet responding to the remarks, Warren said Bezos forgot to thank all the hardworking Americans who actually paid taxes to keep this country running, while he and Amazon paid nothing. Next to nothing, essentially. Now, is Blue Origin receiving any federal funding? Because that would be the icing on the cake. That would be the icing on the cake, right? All right, Kyle, hit me up.
Joe Biden is stonewalling marijuana legalization, or at the very least decriminalization. So let me read you this new thing that happened involving the Senate. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer proposed legislation Wednesday to legalize marijuana at the federal level, a move aimed at easing restrictive drug policies that have disproportionately impacted communities of color and the poor. The Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act would remove marijuana from the Controlled Substances Act and introduce regulations to tax cannabis products. The proposal would expunge federal records of nonviolent cannabis offenders and allow people serving time in federal prison for nonviolent marijuana crimes to petition a court for re-sentencing. By the way, under this legislation, it also gives basically the first crack at profiting off of marijuana and creating the industry, the marijuana industry. It gives first crack to the communities that were impacted the most by the war on drugs. So, listen, it's a good piece of legislation. Chuck Schumer's bringing it up. Now, the reality is it would have to go through regular order, which means it needs 60 votes. I don't think you're going to get 60 votes. even if you hold every single Democrat, which I have doubts on that, because who knows what Manchin or maybe the odd conservative Democrat would say on this. Some might be against it. Sinema, whoever, somebody might be against it. But then you also, at most you get 2 or 3 Republican senators. No way you're going to get the number that you need. So, not going to get like 9. So, you could argue this is a little bit of like, it's a virtue signaling bill. I'm going to show that I'm on the right side of this, and a lot of us Democrats are on the right side of this, but we have
no. It would be one thing, like, virtue signaling about, like, talking about it, but, I mean, like, they should still propose this legislation, right? Biden continued to outflank Republicans on the right. True. This can't happen. This can't happen. It makes too much sense. Like, states have been consistently back-to-back legalizing marijuana. Some have decriminalized it. At this point, like, come on. Yeah, made it known going forward who voted against it. Yeah, just, like, propose the bill. It's the right thing to do regardless. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily a virtue signal. Just do it.
Arms twisted, and it's not really going to go anywhere. But that gets me to the one and only President Biden. So get this, from Kevin Robillard, however you say it, the press secretary on Schumer's marijuana legalization bill, quote, "I've spoken in the past about the president's views on marijuana, and there's no change. No change." So in other words, he was always a drug warrior, and he's still a drug warrior. Even at this late date, even when the polls are overwhelming. In the country, it's like 60% want to legalize marijuana. And then the Democratic Party, I haven't seen a specific poll for the Democratic Party, but I imagine it's 80% or more. Probably between 80 and 90%.
Okay, we're gonna ignore that because we don't know. But the point being is, it is safe to say that majority of people, just majority of Americans in general, do support the legalization or decriminalization of marijuana and other drugs, which I think it's about time. I mean, like, there have been, like, even conservatives who are completely in favor of this. What happened to bipartisanship? What happened to appealing to both sides? This would be a perfect issue. Ending the drug war, taking the steps to end the drug war. I mean, like, one of the most, like, well, I know this is like anecdote Andy, but like we've all seen like people like even like CTV cry about like ending the drug war. I mean, just do it. I'm sure at least half of non-boomer Republicans are for legalization. Yeah, like the overwhelming majority of like Americans, just like as a whole, as a population, would be in favor of legalization. I mean, like, somewhere over 50% of conservatives. Yeah, there you go, KTS. That's exactly what Darknet was saying. Mainly because they like the potential profits. I mean, whatever. My point being is, I want to end the drug war. Didn't Colorado make enough taxes that they started giving money back to taxpayers? Yes, and they also, I think, invested in schools, and they invested in schools and rehab programs. And had to do a revote on what to do with the excess 3 times. Yeah, that's pretty good revenue, not only for tax purposes, but like it could also spawn like a new economic opportunities. And I mean, like the real like core for me is really just to end this nonsensical drug war. It's about time. It's 2021. All right. Like it's about that time, right? It's about that time. I think the overwhelming majority of like Europe and all of these countries have already made that decision for the most part, and it's like it's just better. It's just better morally. It's better economically. And it actually helps. It actually helps with bringing down like drug use, and it also helps lower crime, and B, take power away from like organized crime, criminal organizations. I mean, like, there's just so much win to be had here. Right, that's exactly what I meant, Pirate Ninja. Lower opioid use, lower drug use. I mean, like, there's only benefits to doing this. Like, I don't get it.
So, what are you doing here? The part that's the most frustrating is, dude, look at your son. Look at Hunter. Hunter has had all sorts of problems with drugs and addiction. And you know what? Joe Biden never wanted to lock him in a cage and ruin his life over that. He wanted to give him a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance and endless chances.
Right, because that's what you should do. You should help people. Right? You should help people. That's the whole point. When I rewatch old 80s and 90s movies, it's laughable to see cops chasing and shooting at weed dealers, calling them scumbags. It's just weed, true. If we let the devil's lettuce run wild on town, won't you think of the children? Will somebody think of the children? I mean, like, but even then, like, wouldn't it decrease, like, use? I mean, okie dokie. The same reason why the alcohol prohibition didn't work is the same reason why this drug war has been a failure. Just saying.
So for him to be in favor of criminalizing it for everybody else, but for his son, oh, he's special, that is unforgivable, in my opinion. And by the way, listen, the real takeaway should be people who have substance abuse issues, they should get treatment. It should be treated like a medical issue, and then everybody who can handle substances, which, by the way, according to Dr. Carl Hart, the expert on this, 80% of people are not addicted to substances when they have substances, whatever they may be. For them, they should be able to do what they want. It's not a crime. Nobody's getting hurt. It's the same thing as drinking a whiskey on the weekend or something. But he doesn't view it like that. I mean, this is the author of the crime bill, guys. How many innocent men and women of color were locked up as a direct result of what Joe Biden was in favor of? This is a guy who said we should ban raves or something to that effect. He's a drug warrior. He was one, and he still is one. So, it's Joe Biden who's really getting in the way of taking the next step on weed.
True.
When we know the writing's on the wall, eventually it's going to be legalized. You have to do it.
Yeah, statistically,
And
Colorado
the most
use among high
frustrating
school
part is
students went
you
down,
don't even
and
need
that's
this
after
piece of
2012 when it was made legal.
through the
Amazing.
House and the Senate. I mean, it would be good to have it, but the president has the ability to take marijuana off the controlled substances list altogether. So immediately decriminalizing it. You know, if you want to legalize it and then put the, guardrails in place and put the rules in order to make it so that
whatever happened to the people saying that Biden changed
the war
Lamau.
on drugs get first crack at it. I get that and I'm in favor of that. But Joe Biden could end this national nightmare today, and he doesn't want to do it. Even to the point of, it sounds like, even if there was some miracle and this bill got through the Senate and it would immediately get through the House, they've already passed a different marijuana legalization bill through the House. If this got through the Senate, Biden might veto it. He might veto it, which is just
And
bonkers,
I'm a pretty
man.
nice
That's
guy.
just out of this
Lol.
world at this late date. It's really unforgivable. So anyway, even though it's a virtue signaling bill on the part of the Senate Democrats, I'm happy that they're on the side of legalizing marijuana, or most of them are. The overwhelming majority of the elected Democrats in the Senate are on
The
that side now.
overwhelming
The
majority
House
of
Democrats, we know,
people
are in favor
are
of it because
for
they already passed the marijuana
legalization.
legalization bill. So really, it's the Republicans getting in the way and Joe Biden. It's just so pathetic.
It's
so
not.
pathetic, 'cause
It's frustrating. That's what it is. Because, like, bro, it's 2021. Dealers are already doing something illegal, illegal by selling whatever. So selling to children doesn't suddenly make it worse. But a business can lose its licensing for selling to minor incentive to make sure that doesn't happen. True. That's right, Grulum. That's right.
Also, on top of just being the right thing to do when it comes to criminal justice, it's also the right thing to do when it comes to the economy and
Yeah.
personal freedom.
True.
And he's just wrong across the board. He seems to
True.
understand the issue more when it comes to his own son. When it comes to others, throw the fucking book at him. That's the worst kind of hypocrisy.
Well, I don't know if it's hypocrisy. He's always had this stance, but like, the reality is, like, he has. I think he's made it clear more than once about his stance on this. Like, did y'all just like expect something different? I don't know. Nothing will fundamentally change. Sweet. Very prophetic quotes from Joe Cornpop Malarkey Biden. Harris keeps flip-flopping on weed. Whichever side is more popular during the next election is the one that she'll roll with. Yeah. I'd kind of prefer that, to be honest. Like, you'd want a politician to flip-flop on whatever the public popular position is. You want them to support what the public is supporting. Biden's flip-flop on, and here's the alternate, right? Here's the flip side, so to speak. Biden's flip on the Hyde Amendment, sign of administration spiraling way. Oh, hold on. Spiraling way to the left. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell slammed President Biden for steering the U.S. Wait, who wrote this article? I mean, like, I know it's Fox, but like, Jesus Christ. For steering the U.S. to the more to the left. Jesus Christ. Despite campaigning as a moderate, in light of Democrats' push to eliminate the Hyde Amendment. The first passed in 1977, the Hyde Amendment to Medicaid prohibits federal tax dollars from being used to fund abortions except in cases where the woman's life is in danger. Except for exceptions for case of rape and incest were later added. McConnell noted that while the White House budget requests call for scrapping this, Biden supported the Hyde Amendment in the past. I want them to support what the public wants, but also have some integrity when it comes to their positions are true. Yeah, I mean, like, ideally, you'd want politicians to be... you'd want politicians to have, like, integrity in the positions that they hold, but realistically, you can't really expect that. There are some that do honestly believe the positions that they hold, but at the same time, like, I guess consequentially, as long as they support what the public wants, then I guess it's of no consequence to me, because, like, technically that's what they should be doing anyways, even if it's considered a flip-flop. I don't know. It's an article for boomers. You really expect to be no grammatical error. True. Alright, so I'm gonna try my best, but we're gonna get through this for and I hope I don't put you guys to sleep for decades, nearly his entire career. Then Senator Joe Biden was a reliable support for high protections, but a couple years ago on the presidential campaign trail, our former colleague changed his mind and tune. He let the demands of the increasing radical left to overcome a principle he had held literally for decades. McConnell went on to say that that Biden's newfound opposition to the Hyde Amendment is yet another way in which the administration has sold itself as moderate and unifying, but is now spiraling way to the left. Yeah, because spiraling way to the left is like not supporting the Hyde Amendment, trying to get like more funding for women's health and women's rights. What? The first she laughs at legalizing weed, then she says her family smokes weed, so she's in favor of it. Yeah, I know. Also, you're allowed to change your views based on new information. That is also true. But I feel like someone like Kamala Harris, who is very intelligent, I think she knows. I think she knows. 10 out of 10. Yay. The Republican leader stated this illustrates the current state of the Democratic Party. Oh yeah, supporting abortion rights is just this radical left concept. In today's Democratic Party, there's no room for dissent from the far left's culture war. Wait, this is pure projection. Even in the modest, most popular ways. Wait, doesn't the majority of the country support the right for a woman to have an abortion? I'm pretty sure like the majority of the country is fine with a woman's right to choose, because, well, yeah. Like I think that people really just they just don't grasp the concept of like the abortion debate, right? There's no abortion debate to be had. The question is of whether or not you want to control women, and whether or not you feel like you have the right to force yourself or force other people to essentially, like you said, force birth. I mean, like, that's really what it is. So, I mean, like, and here's like the massive thank you, Girldom. Here's the massive like this is a 2000 IQ drop, right? Are you ready for this 2000 IQ take? If you don't like abortions, don't have one. I know it's crazy. It's crazy. But if you don't like abortions, or you feel like it's morally wrong, no one's stopping you from not having one. That's the point. So the reality is, there actually really is no debate about this. It's just as simple as that. %49 of Americans are pro-choice and 47% are pro-life. So by a squeak margin, I guess they're more pro-choice. McConnell vowed that Republicans would resist the effort to scrap the Hyde Amendment. Is there like a serious effort to scrap this? Saying that the GOP would continue to standing up for millions of Americans who don't want the government laundering their hard-earned money to abortion providers. Wait, Jesus Christ! The rhetoric being used. Holy yikes! Laundering hard-earned money, laundering their hard-earned money to abortion providers. What? What kind of like rhetoric is this? Jesus Christ, like... Hey, you know what? Millions of Americans don't want the government laundering their hard-earned money to the unnecessary military-industrial complex. How about that? To hard-earned abortion providers. Furthermore, aren't like Republicans the ones who are cutting like abortion clinics? Like, I mean, there are some states where they're literally a handful at best. I think there was this one state, was it Louisiana? Can somebody help me with that? Louisiana, where there's like literally one abortion clinic. Yeah, pro-life is a misnomer. It's a branding trick. They're not pro-life. This is not the first time this week that McConnell has taken to the Senate floor to accuse Democrats from moving farther to the left. On Tuesday, he railed against Democrats for contributing to growing inflation. What? Wait. There wasn't like a massive pandemic or anything like that. There wasn't like a massive problem with like supply chains. Nothing like that. Warning that a massive spending package supported by those of the self-described Democratic Socialist Bernie Sanders would make matters worse. Well, it depends on what you spend it on, right? It depends on what you spend it on. As long as they can twist their reality to fit their beliefs. True. Our distinguished colleague and junior senator from Vermont, the chair of Budget Committee, has been very transparent about his socialist ideology for decades, very upfront about it. But the country didn't elect a 50-50 Senate and a president who claims to be a moderate so that the chairman senators could turn America into a socialist country. Oh yeah. Hey folks, Bernie Sanders has the unilateral power to... Bernie Sanders has the unilateral power to turn America socialist. Right? Amazing. I mean, Jesus. Europeans laugh when people call Bernie socialist. True. He's also wrong about this. Hey, Justin, how's it going? Yeah, that's right. Spread it forward. That's right. They justify the they justify taking away choices and rights away from women because, well, their little book tells them that it's okay. These religious fundamentalists, that's where they get their cue from. A book that's thousands and thousands of years old with so much nonsense in it, so many contradictions, but, you know, they get to pick and choose and create and warp their reality to it. Arm is still a little sore from the vaccine, but no other side effects. Awesome. Sweet. Which vaccine did you get? Yeah, so contrary to popular belief, Senator Bernie Sanders does not have the unilateral ability to turn America into a socialist country. Furthermore, as far as I'm aware, the type of policies being proposed in the Senate at this time have absolutely nothing to do with socialism. Okay. The Moderna one? Gotcha. Weird that there's been no ads on today's show. I have decreed that there shall be no ads on this show today. No, I've just started the YouTube videos afterwards. That's awesome. Hey, Alio, how's it going? Morning, morning. Also, anyone who is truly anti-abortion, if she has made herself impure, made unfaithful to her husband, this will be their soul. She is made to drink the water that brings a curse and causes bitter suffering. It will enter the this is clean. Yeah, so effectively this is how you do abortions. They use abortion as punishment for adultery. True, and they even tell you how to do it. Back in the day, they used to use, like, herbs. That was the thing. There hasn't been one Manscaped or toxic poop pads. Not one. I have had it. No, I decree that there shall be no poop ads. Alright? No poop ads. No toxic poop ads. Conservatives unironically think that socialism, unification of workers under a common state, collectively and democratically progressing the lives of all, is somehow synonymous with authoritarian dictatorship of the wealthy elite who are somehow not conservative. Yeah, they simultaneously believe that they simultaneously believe that these like massive corporations have like been taken over by the radical. I don't get it. Anyways, the point being is like, no, Bernie Sanders doesn't have the unilateral ability to turn America into a socialist country. Neither has any type of legislation proposed to give workers control of the means of production. None of this has been even thought about or proposed or even entertained in any Senate chair position. Any Democratic chair, senator, chairman has not proposed any of this. And furthermore, the country elected overwhelmingly to act. They came out to deliver the Senate for the Democratic Party based on the promises and the platform that the Democratic Party was proposing. So, yeah, this is what the country wanted. Remember, Raphael Warnock and Ossoff ran on semi-progressive platforms, which and the $2,000 stimulus, with claims that if they got into Senate, they would have the majority, which then would help deliver aid to the American people, because that's what the people wanted. That's literally why they won. Okay, they won because they ran on a platform on attempting to help people and attempting to make this a better place. That's why they won. That's literally it. Like, McTurtle over here is completely incorrect. And like, Jesus Christ, not every proposal to help the American people is some socialist plot to destroy America. Jesus Christ, get over yourselves. Like, the gaslighting is like unreal. Like, imagine thinking like, maybe we should give like more aid in form of like child credits. Maybe we should like help seniors with dental and eyeglasses care. Imagine thinking these things are like a socialist plot to destroy America. Imagine thinking that people like Jeff Bezos and the wealthiest of wealthiest deserves to be taxed more. Imagine thinking that is a socialist plot to destroy America. I mean, like, this is like gaslighting 101. Imagine thinking that, like, even proposing the idea of legalization of marijuana is somehow a socialist plot. Imagine thinking that being against the Hyde Amendment I imagine, or I assume, the reason why they would be against it is because they want to provide more funding for women's health. Imagine thinking that is a, quote, socialist plot to destroy America. There is a distinction, Memmius, but they don't care. Yep, that's right, Elio. By electing Trump to drain the swamp is like putting Bill Cosby... Yeah, true. True. Have you covered the new DMCA Twitch guidelines? Let me see. I think you sent a Twitter thingy. Hold on, Alio. Where is it? Ah. And let me be clear on what these people want. Okay? Let me be clear what these people want. When you hear a convo with them in person, it's like talking to a kid about Superman. True. Yep. That's right. This is almost as great as the time when they lost to a bunch of adolescent boys. He's making fun of the women's national team. Right? He's making fun of the women's soccer team. I'm so happy they lost. I'm actively rooting against US women's soccer. I want them to be humiliated and embarrassed just as they humiliate and embarrass our country. Misogynistic piece of shit. The women's national soccer team is the best soccer team on the planet. Okay? They have won consistently World Cups, back-to-back-to-back World Cups. So, unless Matt Walsh has like any hidden World Cups under his belt, he should probably sit the fuck down. Oh yeah, here it is. I never said I oppose censorship. You see, they give away the game right there. That's the game. At least the women's team makes it. The women's team doesn't even make it. The women's team has been... They don't just make it, they have been back-to-back champions. They are the best soccer team in the planet. Undisputed. And they lose once, and this misogynistic piece of shit is like, oh, wow, huh, I'm glad they lost. Right, KTS. He's just big mad that the women's team is better. Anyways, this is really what I wanted to bring up. Like, here they give away the game right here. They never cared about censorship. They never do. They're just mad that they're not the ones doing it. That's really what it is. They're just mad that they're the ones that are not the ones doing it, right? That's the game right there, folks. Drum up outrage, drum up spooky stuff, get people mad, all while the reason behind it is because you're not the one that's doing it. That's why you're big mad. I'd like to also point out that this guy is also 100% endorsed by Ben Shapiro. He's also 100% endorsed by the Daily Wire, which is his media thing. And I'd also like to point out that this media empire that Ben Shapiro has built is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, platforms out there for conservative media. Yeah, this is the type of people they have. This is the type of people that they employ. This is the type of beliefs that they are completely fine with. No surprise. I know he's using this facetiously, but... Hmm. I don't know. Trump isn't even Lex Luthor. Anyways, nice meme. Yeah, Jeff Bezos is more like Lex Luthor. God dang it. I forgot to skip this one.
We're going to be doing... Welcome to the show. We're going to be doing a variety of different vaccine-related discussions today. Some of them are very depressing, like this first one. Some of them have me sort of cautiously optimistic, even if it's for sort of weird or cynical reasons, but we'll get to that in a moment. I want to start with a new poll that contextualizes the why of so many people not getting the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, any of the COVID-19 vaccines that are available. And we've been talking about these really pathetic low numbers where we have endless millions of vaccines available, and we're struggling to even vaccinate 500,000 people per day in terms of one dose. Remember, it being mostly two-dose vaccines, that's probably only about 280 or 300,000 additional fully vaccinated people per day.
Kind of looks like him
We
too.
know that it's Republican.
Wait.
Millions of vaccines available, and we're struggling to even vaccinate 500,000 people per day in terms of one dose. Remember, it being mostly two-dose vaccines, that's probably only about 280 or 300,000 additional fully vaccinated people per day. We know that it's Republicans who are overwhelmingly the anti-vaccine individuals.
True.
And we've sort of seen some polling generally talk about, if the vaccine were to be fully approved by the FDA, 1/3 of the current anti-vaxxers would go and get vaccines. And then we say, well, is that true, or is that just the excuse they're coming up with now? And when the vaccine...
Furthermore, that point is nonsense, because, didn't the vaccine go through rigorous, testing through the FDA and had to get FDA approval for emergency launch anyways, based on rigorous testing regardless? What? That's a nonsense point.
vaccines are fully approved rather than just for emergency use. They'll come up with some other reason, or they just won't come up with any reason and they'll just never go. We have a disturbing new poll which finds that 20% of Americans believe the government is injecting microchips into their bodies, hit the body with a microchip in the vaccines. And this is shocking. Half of Americans believe it is possible. Believe it is possible. Okay.
Believe it is even
Listen to
possible.
this.
Okay, so Jesus Christ, like the misinformation has gone so deep that like even people who may be reasonable are believing that it is even possible. Like, okay, listen. The government is already has already the capabilities of tracking you. It's right here. Okay? It's right here. They don't need to make up this convoluted scheme to this convoluted scheme to get people vaccinated to track them. It's right here. Okay? It's not that hard.
Where is the start of this polling information? An Economist YouGov poll released last week did not attempt to link false beliefs to social media use, but it did find wide confidence in a popular conspiracy theory among 1 in 5 Americans. The Economist YouGov asked 1,500 Americans to respond to a set of statements, including the U.S. government is using the vaccine to microchip the population.
Microchip the
5%
population.
of all respondents, 1 in 20, this is a representative sample, 1 in 20.
Because they don't care, KTS. They don't care. It's true. I remember, I too remember when there was massive protests about the new LoJack technology. What? You think about older non-Muslim men, they live their life believing that neoliberal bullshit that everyone was taught and believed for decades, including trickle-down economics, bootstraps individualism, MMT, and all the dogmatic beliefs such as necessary unemployment rate, union busting, building up the middle class. Yeah, I mean, like, all of this is based on some level of truth, but yes, the reality is once you take a real look at it, trickle-down economics is bullshit. MMT is, I don't know. MMT sounds weird. I feel like that like is like borderline like it feels cultish. Union busting, because of course, you know, you should pick yourself up by the bootstraps. No need for unions. Yeah. They have now clinged to the one outsider that was supposed to bring back. It was when they realized it was all BS. Yeah, the one outsider who was not really an outsider. Like the grift, the con was from the point of view of like Donald Trump and well, the new Donald Trump Republican Party, because that's what they are. From their point of view, the grift and the con was beautiful. It played out beautifully. They did it. They 100% did what they were trying to achieve. MMT isn't a complete theory, gotcha.
Said it is definitely true that the U.S. is microchipping people with a COVID-19 vaccine. 15% said it's probably true. So you've got 20% of the country who believes it is either definitely or probably true that people are getting microchipped by the government for some kind of subsequent tracking, presumably, by the COVID vaccine. And then, look at this. Fewer than half of respondents, just 46%, said it was definitely false. So between the 20% who think it's definitely or probably true and those who think it's definitely false, you've got an additional...
Okay. Hold on. I know statistics can be used to play around and like... I know statistics you can use to play games around, but like the reality is, even if a fraction of this is true, even if like a fraction of this is true, like unironically, there's this many people who believe that there is some kind of conspiracy to microchip the population. Even if a fraction of this is true, is already disturbing, because how are we supposed to reach herd immunity like this, right? Once you realize their perspective. Oops, come on. Once you can realize their perspective, it's easier to understand them and bring them back to reality. It's still going to take a ton of effort that no one really has time for. Well, I mean, it has to be done. Richard Wolff describes MMT as adding oil to the capitalist machine, but the machine is still fundamentally broken. Okay, that makes sense. How come these people never seek photos of the microchips and give us data on how they're used? Yeah, that would require critical thinking, KTS.
Huge portion of the population that thinks, it's unlikely but possible or plausible that people are being microchipped by these vaccines. As the article points out, the debunked theory has circulated widely.
Oh yeah, this is a microchip to secure the vote. Just chill out.
Implanted chips will be used at some future date to subjugate humanity. Reuters reported in 2020, one video in support was viewed 27,000 times. Well, that's not that much, but it's still disturbing. The belief in the microchip conspiracy was most commonly held by lower income voters, white non-college educated Americans. That white non-college educated group continues to be a very problematic group, and Hispanic respondents. And I've spoken about that before as well, as an immigrant from South America myself, who's very in touch with a variety of these communities in the U.S.
True.
That is, and that when I was doing the Spanish show in the lead up to the election on the Estrella network, the amount of anti-vaccine conspiracy type stuff I was getting in Spanish was disturbing. I told some stories about interactions a couple weeks ago in Miami with some Cuban Americans who believed the vaccine magnetized my mom. I told that story on the bone.
What? And how do these people believe that? I don't get it. If you really genuinely think that this is even the slightest of possibilities, test it yourself. Right? Obviously, on the surface, it doesn't make any sense. But that's right. Spread it forward. Yeah, that's not even how magnets work. True. A vaccine with chips to save me from the sickness. Chip me. Yeah, no, it's unbelievably disturbing just how even if a fraction of this is true, because again, one could play statistical games all the time, but even if a fraction of this is true, it's already disturbing, and it's really frustrating when we're trying to just level out and try to beat this thing.
Bonus show and others. So nothing there is particularly surprising. Now, the one thing I continue to bring up about this microchip conspiracy is, other than, when the first question that, I don't know what the first question is. One question we would ask would be, does the technology exist to inject such a microchip into people through a vaccine, through a syringe that is the size of the COVID vaccine syringe? The medical research I've looked at says it's not even possible. We're not aware, at least, of that technology. Now, a good conspiracy theorist would say, well, David, come on. They're keeping it secret that they have such little microchips, and that becomes indefeasible, and it's endless cynicism. But the bigger question for me is, why would you need to do this to track people when almost everybody is carrying something around that provides a wealth of information about us, including our location, meaning our mobile phones? In addition to that, most people's credit cards, debit cards now also have chips on them, which if you wanted to have it do the dual role of also tracking people, you could do it that way. Why would the government need to microchip people via an optional vaccine when everybody's already carrying around a phone and most people are carrying around a debit or a credit card? So it doesn't even pass the sniff test. But this is really, it has spread like a mind virus. Now, just one other thing. 2 out of 5, so just a few other notes from this poll. 17% of respondents thought that it was definitely or probably true that vaccines have been shown to cause autism. 17% instead of 20 who believed the microchip thing, also completely debunked.
This information spreads rapidly.
That's 2 out of 5 Americans said the statement, millions of illegal votes were cast in the 2020
inject
general
a chip,
election.
But the needle would be...
And the threat of the virus was exaggerated for political reasons were probably or definitely true. That's 40%. More than half of respondents who identified as Trumpists believed that there was truth to those statements. So this is really, really bad. It doesn't seem to be getting dramatically better, but, there is one little bit of news about which we can maybe be optimistic when it comes to vaccines, and I want to talk about that next.
Okay.
One of our sponsors is
Whoa, chill on your own time, Pac-Man. Right. I love seeing the look on people's faces when they realize just how much their phones allow third-party tracking. Right, but the problem is the problem is this like fantastical vaccine. Yeah, that's it. That's how they'll get you. That's how they'll get you. So what Alio was referring to earlier, it seems like there are new features in terms of like DMCA for Twitch streamers. Apparently this is looking a little bit more like YouTube, like the YouTube platform, where you can track your copyright claims and do what you need to do to eliminate that. I think the actual service itself connecting to a nearby antenna shields our exact location to cell carriers, right? Which is often that information is often given to police and authorities if needed. So I don't know. Oh yeah, I know, KTS. I try to de-radicalize them by asking them more basic questions. It at least gets them thinking, like, why isn't the government using the microchips to locate missing people and fugitives? Yeah, it's just like, it doesn't even make sense, like, from the beginning, right? Like, explain to me how that would even work, and explain to me how that this plan, investing in all of this like wild steps, all these unnecessary steps to propagate this masterful plan of getting people injected with microchips, when you've got one right here in your hand. Everybody has, or even your computer, even your tablet. I don't know, like what makes more sense, right, is what I would say basically. True. True. Yeah, so I think that they're trying to create like a dashboard now, where you can deal with your DMCA claims for Twitch streamers. So I think that this is probably good. True. It's all about the Book of Revelations, Mark of the Beast prophecy. That's why they're so obsessed with microchips. Yeah, this has been a thing for quite some time. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, hey, you simultaneously believe, or you simultaneously praise Trump for the creation of the vaccine, but also won't take it because microchips? How do you square that circle? Trump advisor Tom Barrack arrested from foreign agent charges. Another one of his very fine picks. It better not be unless you subscribe to my OnlyFans. Nice meme. Tom Barrack, a longtime supporter and advisor the former President Trump, was arrested on Tuesday on charges he secretly acted in the U.S. as an agent for the United Arab Emirates. Barrack Brock, 74, is accused of failing to register as a foreign agent, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and 4 counts of making false statements to the FBI. A federal indictment issued on the grand jury in Brooklyn, New York, charged that Barrack put pro-UAE language into a Trump campaign speech in 2016, took direct action took direction from UAE officials about what to say in media appearances and op-ed pieces he published just before the 2016 election, and agreed to promote a candidate for ambassador to UAE, the UAE backed by UAE officials. Nice meme. So yeah, again, just choosing the best of the best. True, KTS. I don't even know at that point. Listen, if we're at the point where we're accepting that like there are conspiracy theories by the government to microchip people, all I can do is like say, look, I highly recommend you think about the logic behind that and ask yourself why or how that would even come to be. If there are already a myriad of different ways of tracking you, it just doesn't make sense, and leave it at that, because like these people, if they're deep into the conspiracy theories, most of them won't come out. You just kind of have to put one question in their head. Don't even like entertain the spider webs that this can go down. Just be like, hey, you know what? That seems kind of weird. Okay, so if they're so hellbent about tracking people using a vaccine, why would they go to the trouble of that? They already have your phone. I don't get it. They already have like your location at any given point. Like, what would be the point of making all of these unnecessary steps when they already like have your location? It doesn't make any sense. And just leave it at that, because holy yikes, can you get down some really really deep rabbit holes. I hope some NSA is coming to me right now. The deep state. The dark state. Wait, hold on. Did Spread It Forward just self-report? Did Spread It Forward just... Are you an NSA agent? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I have a feeling this chat has already been infiltrated. Folks. The chat is compromised. I have to go. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh. Oh, man. I know an incredibly smart woman that has a Trump as husband, and she says her husband sleeps with an aluminum foil, like hats to keep the government out. Wait, this is like Alex Jones level. I'd probably ask people why they're wasting time telling people about this issue in chats instead of starting a news channel to get the word out. If there's really a conspiracy one, and one cares, they should probably start a show like InfoWars. True. She's normally brilliant. Well, I mean, she's brilliant, but clearly the husband sleeping with aluminum foil hats, like literally the tinfoil hat meme, is not so much. It's not so much.
I never seem to finish.
Yeah, this is from 2014. I love this song. I love this song. I just want my NSA agent to be open to critical examination of capitalism. Maybe they're taking notes. It'll be like a Bond movie. Weird Al's a genius? True. I love this song. Alright. Folks, I'm going to take a quick second for self-shilling. If you guys enjoyed the content, please make sure you hit the follow button. Please make sure you head on over to the YouTubes and do the YouTubes, like, comment, share, subscribe, and spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics. We do that Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and Saturdays for Saturday Catterdays for a more chill version of the show. Just make sure you spread the word. If you enjoy this content, tell everybody and anybody that this is the chillest place to be. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. You guys are what makes this show go. Yes, I love Weird Al. That could be an Onion article. NSA agent radicalized to communism by hanging out in too many lefty discords. True. Wait, wasn't that an Onion article already? I'm pretty sure that was an Onion article. And it's hilarious because he asked all the artists if he can do the parody, and they always say no, but he does it anyways because parody isn't copyright. True. True. I'm pretty sure, sourcing that this was an Onion article. I'm not even kidding. Probably. I know they had one about a decade ago with terrorists turning into libs and checking out. Yeah. So maybe that's what I saw. I have like selective photographic memory, so I can get like bits and pieces of where I've seen like different things in the past. So it's quite possible that that's what it was. Yeah, I can't find it. Remember the part where of the Snowden movie where his boss tried to comfort him by letting him know that his girlfriend isn't cheating on him because he monitors all the time? Wait. Jesus Christ. I need to rewatch that. I completely forgot about that. Alright, folks. Let's focus. We got a few more to go. Prosecutors say Barack used his insider access to White House officials that he gained through roles like his position as chair of the Trump's inaugural committee to give the UAE non-public information about the views and reactions of senior government officials following a White House meeting between senior U.S. officials and senior UAE officials. Also charged in a case where an aide to Barack at his investment firm Colony Capital, Matthew Grimes, a businessman from UAE, Rashid Al Malik. Prosecutors allege that early in the Trump administration, Barack sought to appoint to a high-profile role in the Middle East policy, while telling his allies in the UAE that such an appointment would be good for them. Yeah, so he's just like selling out the country basically to the UAE. But yeah, let's cry about how the Biden administration is like this surrogate or subservient to China or something like that. All the indictments give numerous, and this isn't the first time, by the way, nor the first. Not only is it not the first time, but not the only time like where Trump officials have been indicted for doing this. We all remember that, even though I understand that it was overblown, or like the way it was presented was less than ideal and hyperfixated on like the most unimportant of details. And of course, Rachel Maddow didn't help. But the whole RussiaGate thing, it did produce some results, especially when it came to Trump officials or Trump appointees doing business as foreign agents in Ukraine. I mean, it's not the first time, but you know, he appoints the best people. He knows what he's doing, and he's draining the swamp. Yeah, that's what he did. The memes write themselves, folks. While the indictment gives numerous examples of Barack working closely with Al-Malik to advance a UAE interest, it's vague about Barack's motivation for doing so. Well, I mean, power, money, positions. We can deduce those. However, the indictment suggests that Barack's public relations and lobbying efforts for UAE were intertwined with his financial and investment interests. There you go, money, power. Prosecutors contend that in December of 2016, Grimes sent Al-Malik a proposal that said implementing the plan could achieve outsized financial returns. And of course, they use someone like Donald Trump as a vehicle. That's basically what it is. They just use someone who appoints the best people as vehicles to get what they want and advance their own interests. Cheer up, bud. She's faithful. Yay. Nice meme. So yeah, they just use Trump as a vehicle to advance their own interest, and these are also the same people. This is also like the hilarity behind the entire, like the hilarity behind like the whole thing of like, oh, Trump really cares about this country. Trump really wants to make this country better. Trump only dedicated himself for these 4 years to the country. Yeah, sure. Okay. But I thought he drained the swamp. He actually did. He actually did sourcing. He drained the swamp, but of people that were of people that weren't with him, or people that didn't benefit him, or people that were not suitable. So instead, he put in his swamp, or the people convinced him that otherwise, right? So he did drain the swamp, but only to replace it with bigger swamp monsters who were only looking out for their own interest. I mean, like, throughout his presidency, there was a revolving door of officials and acting officials. So, yeah, in a sense, I guess, if you really want to stretch it out. But yeah, no, I'm just memeing. The reality is, the swamp was never gone. The swamp was never drained. It was just... It's just been... He just made it more toxic, right? In addition, the 3 men charged in the case were working at the time on efforts to help a UAE ally, Saudi Arabia, acquire nuclear power technology from the US. That project, which became the focus of a House Oversight Committee investigation, included an effort to use UAE and Saudi funds along with US investments to take over the US-based energy firm in Westinghouse. The House probe found that Malik was acting both on behalf of the UAE and Saudi officials. Nice. Prosecutors contend that in May of 2016, Barack shared with the UAE that he called a totally confidential draft of a Trump speech on energy, and that al-Malik later attended the inauguration festivities as a personal guest of Barack. The indictment alleges that Barack and Grimes obtained a dedicated cellular phone for their communications with top UAE officials and installed a secure messaging application for that purpose. Prosecutors also allege Grimes to remove a reference to dictatorships in a Barack op-ed at the UAE officials' request. Yeah, so plain and simple, corruption. Plain and simple, people taking advantage, people seeing how dumb Donald Trump is, and advancing their own interests. That's what it is. That's really what it is. That's the TLDR of this. Republicans plan to block vote on bipartisan infrastructure bill, pushing for more time to write it. Here's your bipartisanship. The false election is in the swamp, true. Here's your bipartisanship. Senate Republicans are expected to block a vote Wednesday to start a debate on, and by the way, this vote isn't for the bill. This vote is to start the debate on a $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill as they push for more time to strike a deal with Democrats and write the legislation. But lawmakers said negotiations will intensify over the next few days with the goal of trying to advance the measure by early next week. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has defended this decision to set up the Wednesday vote, despite Republican opposition, pointing out the bipartisan group has spent more than a month negotiating. Right, and they'll continue to spend more and more time negotiating until, of course, the midterms, and then they'll like, yeah, look at these do-nothing Dems. Yeah. Nice meme. Remember, at the beginning, these are the same folks that were crying about bipartisanship. Senate Majority Chuck Schumer has defended the decision to set up Wednesday vote despite Republican opposition, pointing out the bipartisan group has spent more than a month negotiating. There's no reason it should fail. Well, yeah, the reason is they were never intended on working with you, buddy. You should know this by now. This has been like the strategy, the playbook, this whole entire time. McConnell told you in a press conference, or in a not press conference. There's video evidence. I think it was a floor speech, wherever it was. He gave you exactly what he was going to do. He told you. He said that he's going to work on 100% opposition to any of the agenda. It doesn't matter what it is. They're not going to work with you, bud. What is the reason? They say they need more. They need the whole bill text. They haven't asked for that on the bill after bill after bill. Yeah, because it's a stall tactic. They're playing you, bro. Jesus Christ. The bipartisan effort is one part of a two-track strategy to advance the White House's sweeping economic agenda. As Democrats lay the groundwork to advance $3.5 trillion package expanding the social safety net. Democrats have suggested that some elements of the bipartisan plan could be rolled out into the Democratic-only package if they can't advance the narrower measure. Some moderate Dems, however, are wary of adding the already wary of adding to the eye-popping price tag. Yeah, we know who they are, and they're not moderate. I can tell you that right now. Like, words, unironically, have, like, basically no meaning at this point. In case we needed to, like, refresh our memory. Explain this doublespeak to me. Can somebody explain this doublespeak? Manchin has called himself a moderate conservative Democrat and is often cited as the most conservative Democrat. Wait. So he's opposed the energy policies of Barack Obama, which obviously is of to no surprise that people shouldn't be surprised that he's opposing any type of climate change initiatives. He has voted against the Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal. He has voted against. He's voted to remove federal funding for Planned Parenthood. He has supported President Trump's immigration policies. He has voted to confirm most of his cabinet, which, whatever, but more importantly, most of his judicial appointees. He has worked with the Republicans on issues such as abortion. I mean, like, really. Is it safe to say Joe Biden was Joe Manchin before Joe Manchin, or is that too harsh? Nah. Right now is like it's all fair. Like, we should be holding these people accountable. Alright, we should be holding these people accountable. Stop it. Okay. In June, the White House and bipartisan Senate group agreed to $570 billion in new spending to build roads, bridges, and railroads and airports, along with water, power, and broadband infrastructure projects. Which, remember, that ExxonMobil guy said that this is exactly what they want. Right? This is exactly what they want. The folks at ExxonMobil. But lawmakers have since struggled over how to make their lawmakers have since struggled over how to pay for the massive investment. They made their task even harder by agreeing to scrap a provision that would strengthen the IRS's ability to collect unpaid taxes. What? This is insanity. They made the decision to scrap. This is bipartisanship at work, folks. Scrap a provision that would strengthen the IRS's ability to collect unpaid taxes. Yeah, and can somebody tell me who disproportionately would benefit from that? Azure Scapegoat, hey, howdy. Thank you for the follow, appreciate that. Can somebody explain to me who would disproportionately benefit from the IRS continually have less funding or less capabilities of going after people? I've got a few names that pop into my head. That's right. That's right. Ding, ding, ding. It would have strengthened the IRS's ability to collect unpaid taxes, which would have raised up to $100 billion in government revenue. They also haven't resolved other issues, including how much transit funding to provide, according to Senate GOP source. Fine, you can argue that. Utah Senator Mitt Romney, one of the Republican negotiators, said senators had resolved probably 3/4 of their issues in the last 2 days and predicted that they could work out the rest by the end of the week. Yeah, so I think that, like, realistically what's happening is that they're going to water this down, just like ExxonMobil wanted, to basically just be like a little bit of a, oh yeah, we need to like work on the roads and bridges and airports and just fix a little bit here, you know, the pipelines, the water pipes, you know, just a little bit here and there, and like, yeah, we're good. No, no, we're not good. No, we're not good at all. This is absurd. Romney said he wanted the vote to be pushed back to the beginning of next week. Bro, the vote is to begin a debate. The vote isn't for the bill. The vote isn't for the bill. The vote is to begin the debate. Holy... Look. It's right here. Senate Republicans are expected to block a vote on Wednesday to start a debate. To start the debate. They're not even... This isn't the vote for the bill, dude. You can add your amendments should you choose. I am hoping that Senator Schumer will have the vote on Monday, that when we've had a chance to resolve any remaining and outstanding issues. Yeah, like this is like delay tactics. This is delay tactics. I have a feeling, I suspect that no matter what they do, they're gonna get zero Republican support regardless. So, F them. Quite frankly. Because you best believe they have, and they will, when they get into power, use every tool available to them to advance their agenda, regardless of what the Democratic Party says. You best believe that that's what they're gonna do. Here's a nice meme. Off-duty DEA agent brought his government-issued gun to the Capitol riot. Nice. Cool. Very hinged. Very normal stuff happening. An off-duty special agent for the Drug Enforcement Agency carried his government-issued firearm while attending the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, according to the court documents unsealed on Tuesday. Prosecutors say he posed for pictures while flashing his DEA badge and climbed onto the Peace Monument to film himself as he delivered a monologue. Mark Ibrahim of Orange County was arrested at Tuesday and charged with 4 crimes, including making a false statement and carrying a firearm on restricted grounds. Court documents said Ibrahim entered the restricted grounds outside the U.S. Capitol shortly after they'd been breached by the mob and posted a photo standing next to one of the metal barricades that had been recently pulled apart. Prosecutors also said he had sent photos of himself at the Capitol to a group chat on WhatsApp that included at least 5 other law enforcement officers, which, hey, that's kind of strange. Did any of those officers decide to maybe bring that up to somebody? You know, maybe they should have brought that seems to me like something you should bring up to your superior, right? That sounds like something you should probably bring. Hey, Sarge, I got this photo of one of our special agents literally showing me pictures of him at the Capitol, flashing not only his badge, but his surface weapon. I wonder if any of them did actually bring this up to their superiors. That would be very interesting. Thanks for the follow, Digital Violet. Oh my goodness, Digital Violet, you have just crossed the 1500 mark. Thank you so much. Look at that, folks. We did it. We just crossed the 1500 follower mark. I appreciate that, guys. One of the officers participating in the chat wrote, "Are you carrying your duty weapon and your badge? I need to know this." Charging documents described Abraham as a probational employee of the DEA, a federal law enforcement agency within the Department of Justice, and said he had given notice that he planned to resign weeks before the Capitol assault. The DEA did not immediately respond to CBS News for requests for comment, so he was a probational employee? I don't know what that means. In March, Ibrahim gave a voluntary interview to the Office of Inspector General at the Department of Justice and admitted to bringing his DEA credentials, DEA badge, and firearm with him on January 6th, but denied exposing them during the event, even though there's pictures of you doing just that. According to his charging documents, he told investigators, I had my credentials, I had my firearm and my badge on me, but never exposed, not that I know of. I guess he forgot, like, the selfies he took. There was a picture of him. It was, like, clear, like, his badge. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, I did not... I did not flash my badge or credentials or firearms in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. But the internet is forever, dude. Why lie about it? Prosecutors said that multiple photos, showing him posing to the camera while displaying his badge and service weapon. He also allegedly told investigators that FBI asked his friend to bring documents. He allegedly told investigators that the FBI had asked his friend to document the events at the Capitol and said he went with his friend to assist with that effort. The friend, however, told the agent from the Inspector General's office that he'd not been at the Capitol in any formal capacity for the FBI and said Ibrahim crafted that story to cover his ass. Nice meme. Wait, is this like... Is this the whole the whole conservative narrative being like... just like crumbling away? Remember how they were like really, really concerned about like FBI informants participating in the in the January 6th events? He wanted to, his friends also said Ibrahim had gone to the rally in order to promote himself. He wanted to launch a Liberty Tavern political podcast and cigar brand and hoped the protest would be a launching stage. Nice meme. Like, oh look, there's another photograph of you displaying your badge. That's the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency badge and your service weapon. Cool. Nice meme, bro. I work in the financial industry, and during an interview, some lefties I politically aligned with started protesting in front of the building. I would never think that to do that in front of my job and expected to stay employed like these agents do. Right. Well, I don't know about employed. KTS, I think this guy's got bigger problems other than his job right now. He's going to jail probably. In the afternoon, Abraham climbed atop the Peace Monument, which stands at the west of the U.S. Capitol, and filmed himself delivering a monologue. Prosecutors said bicycle rack barricades previously surrounded the Peace Monument, but Abraham's video showed that they had been pulled apart. After Ashley Babbitt was shot by police that afternoon, prosecutors said that she was transported within steps of Ibrahim as she was loaded onto an ambulance. Ibrahim's friend who stood near him filmed her as she was taken past him. Ibrahim posted a video to his WhatsApp group chat. Court documents allege. Ibrahim was also allegedly photographed carrying to... Allegedly, it's right here. Anyways. Photographed carrying two flags, a so-called Troutman flag that bears the words liberty or death, and the so-called Betsy Ross flag, which some associate with the era of slavery. Sure. The point being is, like, this dude was a law enforcement officer at that time, had his badge, had his service weapon, and was in that January 6th insurrection. Yeah, probationary could just mean newly hired. Like, and conservatives continue to downplay this, saying, oh, well, there was no firearms. What are you talking about? If they really wanted to overthrow the government, don't you think that they would bring, like, firearms or something? I mean, yeah. Yeah, they did. There's also multiple FBI investigations about the cache of weapons being stored off-site in vans. There was also the FBI case about the pipe bombs. So yeah, it's kind of so we bit serious there, yeah. My real question out of this entire story, the real question that I want to know is what these 5 other officers did with that information. That is the real question that I have. Prosecutors said he sent photos of himself at the Capitol to a group chat on WhatsApp that included at least 5 other law enforcement officers. I want to know, I really want to know, what happened with that information, or what these 5 officers did with that information. That's what I want to know. Right. Right. Yeah. The tourist, the January 6th tourist, sure, not all of them had firearms, just a few of them. There wasn't like a cache of weapons off-site, but just the chance of hang Mike Pence. We're not we said hang Mike Pence, not shoot him. We're not savages. And then erecting said gallows. I mean, there's also hundreds of videos of their intentions of locating who they deemed to be traitors. The most common name that spread out was Mike Pence. So, yeah, tourists, huh? Tourists. I still stand by this. I want to know what these 5 law enforcement officers did with that information. Question mark, are you carrying your duty weapon and badge and credentials? I need to know this, Mark. I hope that means that he reported him. I hope that that's what that meant. Because I really want to know. I'm super curious about that. The makeshift gallows are impressive, even when hillbillies can tell anything is possible. True. Yeah, I mean, they didn't necessarily need firearms. There was enough of them, and their intentions were very clear. So yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? we all saw like the plethora of social media posts. We all saw the plethora of video evidence. I think, who was it? Was it ProPublica? Or was it oh god, I forgot the website that compiled over like 500 hours. Like 500 hours, meaning combined footage of all different angles. Or was it 500 videos? Either way, compiled a massive amount of videos from all kinds of point of view into one place, archived it in one place. I think it was ProPublica, wasn't it? It was very clear. I mean, like, even when we were watching it live happen, even as we were watching it live, like, everybody here saw what happened. I wish we had... Yeah, no, we do not need gallows. What we need is a coordinated... what we need is a coordinated, like, left that knows, like... A coordinated left that's, like, effective. I mean them, not us. Oh. Okay. Like, well, what we really need is a coordinated left that can, like, be effective at doing stuff. I mean, literally just anything. Healthcare? Can we, like, get a coordinated effort to, like, improve healthcare? Can we get a coordinated effort to, like, end the drug war? More importantly, can we get a coordinated effort to, like, seriously put pressure and build on the ground movements to deal with climate change? I mean, like, that's probably number one on the list. But yeah, we do need to as the left, we do need to, like, figure that out and, like, stop, like, with the nonsense, you know? It's too fragmented. There's no real, like, There's no real like coalescence behind any of these like left factions. And it's really frustrating because like, I don't know, especially when it comes to like climate change. This is a Hail Mary, folks. This is a Hail Mary. We've got, what, less than 9 years before like things get locked into really bad stuff. Well, I mean, these people also think that Donald Trump is like God. Another guy was like, I captured Nancy Pelosi and put her. I was gonna capture Nancy Pelosi and put her on trial. And the zip tie guy was like, same, bruh. I've prepared for this moment my same life. Yeah, but you know, they were just tourists. They were just tourists. He just happened to find those zip ties. He wasn't going to do anything. He was going to assist law enforcement. He wasn't going to do anything with them. Silly lefties. Or libs, I guess, would be the conservative nomenclature. Silly libs. Didn't you see the video? They were just chilling. They let them walk right in. Silly libs. Yeah, I do remember the 5th of November, that gunpowder and tourism plot. Yeah, I remember that. That was a great tourist, that was a great tourist-like plot, right? Same thing. Anyways, I'm glad you joined us at the last second, Wiz. I feel sorry for those employees. True, same. The amount of like urine and crap, like, can you imagine having to do that? Like, ugh. I love my country so much that I'm going to go to the Capitol and piss and shit all over it. And assault police officers with thin blue line flags while simultaneously supporting Donald Trump, but also like simultaneously looking for his vice president that he picked to like hang him or something. True. 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 Alright folks, unfortunately it is about that time. We're just heading into 11:25. I do want to thank everybody for hanging out today. I appreciate all of you guys, and if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you join us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share, tell everybody and anybody that this is a chill place to be for news and politics. Also, for the Discords, do the Discords, join us there. We have awesome offline follows. Sir Yogi, thank you so much for the 100 biddies. Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you for all your support. You guys are what makes this go. And we'll be here Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. As always, stay safe. Oh, and of course, spread the word far and wide to everyone and anyone. that this is the chill space to be for news and politics, yeah? Don't forget Discords, YouTubes, TikToks, hipping and hopping on the TikToks, all that awesome stuff. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Yes, that's right. Right, completely, yeah, completely different. KTS, that's true. Alright, folks, I do have to get going. We are heading over to, let's head on over to Ben, right? We haven't hanged out with Ben in a while. See you tomorrow. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Justin. Please go follow all of these wonderful folks. If you see, please go follow these wonderful folks. I see Justin. I see Alio share. Make sure you follow them. Follow Sourcing Support. Following Wiz Breadbook. All these wonderful, awesome people. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya. Alright, folks, hang tight. We're heading over to Ben's. Hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. We're heading over in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.